Looking for some ways to save money. That's a good sign there. Markets, though, are closed today in observance for the New Year's Day holiday.
We'll bring in Seth Dinson. He is a business and market analyst. I'm over here just my mind is blown from thinking about living in Florida, right, Seth? That they don't have a state tax there. Now you've got your tolls cut in half, and I'm just having a conversation. I'm thinking, is it because of all the new people that moved in, or perhaps the majority of the people that have moved there in the past few years maybe have a higher income? Because you got to be making up the money somewhere.
Well, listen, Florida announced earlier this year, they run on a different fiscal year than the calendar year, but Governor DeSantis announced a near $21 billion surplus. And a lot of that has to do with the influx of people that have moved to Florida and the new revenue that's been generated by that. But quite frankly, I love it when these states run in surplus, which, by the way, our federal government would love it if they take a note from them. When they do that, they return those dollars back to the citizens. And so I'm thrilled to see these types of things. I've traveled the roads in Florida. Trust me when I say they need to work on their infrastructure. So if getting on toll roads for less price is one way of doing it and helping people get from A to B, there's been an influx of people there. I'm all for it. By the way, bring that to Texas. I'll take it here, too.
Texas has seen a lot of folks call that state home. New arrivals, by the way. Let me ask you, Seth, again, markets are closed today because of the holiday, but last week we learned that Wall Street ended the year with the worst year since 2008. What does that tell you about what we can expect in 2023?
Emma, I would love to give you a view into my crystal ball, except I would tell you it's pretty fuzzy right now. A lot of that has to do with the global economy. Will we enter into recession? Quite frankly, the markets were on a contact high with all this free-flowing cash that we had seen over the last couple of years. And unfortunately, as inflation has occurred and the value of the dollar has gone down, that cash has dried up. And that's what's impacting a lot of these markets. So, as we look to the rest of 2023, I think it'll be a tumultuous year for the market. But I do think there will be buys to have. But looking at business fundamentals and the long-term game will be essential. Don't chase those emotional stocks. They rarely pay off in the long run.
Many ask, is crypto still a way to go? Obviously, founder of FTX, Sam Bankman-Fried, by the way, reportedly pleading not guilty, or will plead not guilty, but he's facing obviously a slew of charges and could face up to 115 years behind bars. Pleading not guilty, he's going to fight this, obviously, or he will, it appears. Talk to me about your expectation with that case, maybe, but also the future of crypto for investors out there.
Well, going back to the last statement, crypto's really gained traction when there was a lot of money out there and investors were saying, hey, listen, I got all this cash, the interest rates are low, I can hedge. And the thought was that crypto would be a hedge against inflation. By the way, it's not been. I have not been on the crypto bandwagon in large part because there is no regulation of it. And so it'll be interesting to see how this case plays out. This case is exactly what federal regulators wanted, so they could step in and start saying, we need to regulate this more. And quite frankly, as an investor, I wish that they would. The challenge, though, that prosecutors will have in this case, and I'm not an attorney, but in looking at it is, where does the regulation come from? What laws were broken? Because what is cryptocurrency? It's not a currency. It's classified as an asset or a property. Where was their fraud? That's going to be the challenge that prosecutors will have. But my guess is they'll find something, and Sam Bankman-Fried will go to jail for a very, very long time.
Again, facing years, decades in prison, if again convicted. But Seth, when you think about the new incoming Congress, does that play a role in shaping how crypto is viewed in the future?
I mean, it could, and hopefully it will. Again, I don't care what party's in power. At the end of the day, if investors are putting their money into something, you want it regulated. You want governance of it, and just to make sure that everybody's on the up and up and that there's transparency in the system. That's a big problem with crypto. There's no transparency. Is there more being made? Someone can tell you that there's not, but is there? And I think that's the big thing here. So my hope is that Congress will act, that there will be more regulation put over this. By the way, as more and more of these currencies, there's over 4,000 of these, by the way, as more and more governments across the globe come together on this, quite frankly, that will be the end of this. And so if you're on this bandwagon, you might want to watch yourself and get out while you can. I think that this will be regulated in cryptocurrencies. I don't see them sticking around that much.
Yeah, the SBF case in particular, a very strong warning for people who are thinking about investing. Right. Seth Dinson, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks, y'all.
Thank you. Coming up, the life and